he likes to say that she took all the children and she molded all the children's minds. No, all of the children witnessed it with their own 2 fucking eyes. She was their primary caregiver, and they all watched you treat her like shit. Why do you think every single one of your kids in every single episode for the last 13 years have all said, I will never be a fucking polygamist? Because they saw you neglecting every single one of their moms, but especially their primary caregiver, which was Christine.
And as a result, combined with COVID issues, those relationships have been pulled away from me, including, and this is the one I don't understand, Janelle.
I'm really excited to hear. How far are we? Oh, it's almost over. Fuck. We didn't even really hear much in this episode, did we? This is so funny to me that he doesn't understand how Janelle just up and left out of nowhere, because the whole relationship, she has just like tolerated it better than anyone. She just sits there, she just makes money, and that's it. She's just silent. It's just so crazy that she would leave. She hasn't like had any problem with me this whole time. It's like, yeah, you were oblivious. She just stepped away and it made no fucking difference.
But she's trying to assuage her guilt by saying, I'm a bad man. And I get it. She needs to do that so she can find another man who will trust her. Because if she leaves a good man, most guys are going to go, this is risky.
That is not true. That is not true. If a woman breaks up with a guy and is dating someone new, and the guy says like, oh, what happened with your ex? And you say, honestly, he's a really good guy. We just weren't a fit for each other anymore. You respect that. That's not a red flag. What the hell? You know what is a red flag? When you break up with someone and you go on a date with someone and you're like, oh, why did your last relationship end? And they're like, she's evil. She's a demon. I never wanted to marry her, and I never wanted to get with her in the first place. That I just did it to look cool. Like, that is a red flag. Boy, I'm telling you, you don't make no fucking sense.
Coming up, let's talk about the goodbye.
It really felt like there was this line, you know, we were all doing the best we could.
But it's hard because it's like, I'm standing there with the knowledge that Christine doesn't want a relationship with me or my kids.
Yeah.
What do you think about Cody being upset about that?
Either he was oblivious and not paying attention, or he's conveniently seeing it one way.
And that's exactly what it was. He wasn't paying attention. Janelle was never fucking happy, and she just never said anything. And so once Christine left and she saw, oh, like, this is so easy, all I have to do is just step aside, she was like, oh shit, okay, fuck. Because they always felt the same way. What do you mean? Like, and this idea that he says at one point that Christine took Janelle with her, or that Janelle was like chasing after Christine or something. No. Christine was beaten down on the ground and she was able to stand up. And then when Janelle saw that she could stand up, she was like, oh fuck, Christine, can you help me up too? And then they walked away, man. And unfortunately, Mary had to crawl away. Well, no, actually, I think you fucking kicked her. And she, like the dog that Robin kicked. Robin said, you know the way I kicked that fucking dog on TV and everyone didn't even care? Yeah. Do that to Mary emotionally. On TV.
Let's talk about the goodbye. Christine's truck is packed.
Oh, yeah.
She's ready to leave.
I really like this audio. I'm starting to think, because I want to buy a microphone, I'm like, should I get the regular podcasting mic or should I just get a room one? Because sometimes, I don't know, you know, sometimes on TikTok you find videos where the mic sounds worse. You know what I'm talking about? But I need to get better audio for you guys because it's just not fucking good.
But before she goes, McKelty wants to say goodbye to everybody, and what did you think was going on at that moment?
The way everybody was standing on different sides of the patio, it felt very much like, here's the division.
It kind of felt that way.
Yeah, it looked that way, it felt that way. There was definitely a side. There were sides being taken.
Let's take a look back at some of those moments.
Hi, everybody.
Oh gosh, that was terrifying.
We're outside right now.
Oh, nice, in the backyard?
Yes, let's go. Bless McKelly's heart. She wants to affirm that the family's still a family. And I'm in this sort of weird place where, I'm like thinking I don't want to see Christine ever again.
I think this is probably something that's one of the hardest things that this family is going to have to go through. But I think that it's awesome that we...
Which is funny because again, like, yes, it is, because if from now on, if every other wife left, it will be much, much easier. So the fact that he's like, it makes no sense that Janelle left. It's like, what do you mean? That makes perfect sense. Of course, the first one, it's the hardest. They have to pave the path. Now Janelle has a great example set for her of, wow, my life could improve.
can all be here to show that at the end of this all, we are still a family.
It's very apparent how awkward we all are, but Janelle and her kids are on one side and Robin and Cody are on the other, and none of us want to be here.
Okay, safe travels. We'll see ya. Only me, okay? All right, we'll see you, sweetheart. I love you.
This is so awkward.
I love you. Have a good trip, okay?
It's so weird, like, in other episodes too, when Christine talks about how Truly does not feel comfortable with her father. Like, she doesn't want to stay there. Because he's an absent parent.
Gosh. This is such an awkward moment.
Thank you for coming. Hey, it means a lot to me, okay?
It's one thing for kids when their parents, like, if your parents are divorced and say your dad has another wife and kids with them, and he treats those kids way fucking better than you and your family. It's kind of like his upgrade family. They have to watch that, but in much fucking closer proximity. Which, like, usually when you're a kid, your mom is not watching that, and you aren't, like, hanging out all the time with all of you together. Ugh.
I think this was the worst goodbye that I've ever witnessed.
Yes, it's powerful. Queen!
New chapters. Okay. I felt like this, and McKelty saw it. I didn't understand it at the time, but now I'm like, you know what? We really needed it, no matter how awkward it was.
Yeah.
There had to be a place where it was like, okay.
Are you glad you did it?
Yeah.
Do you feel like hug Christine at that moment?
I know I'm not a huggy person,
Yeah.
but she just needed a hug. I don't know how to explain it. I just was like, she needs a hug, and so I just went and gave her a hug. It's hard. Like the emotion comes through.
Mm-hmm. Seems like Cody and Robin were just kind of standing there.
I know. It was super awkward. It was a little bit antagonistic. It was very separate. It really felt like there was this line, He was completely over there, and then he realized probably how that looked, and so he tried to make an effort to step more into the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we were all doing the best we could.
That aerial view was just so telling, right? It
wasn't because it was because of COVID still. Because it wouldn't have been that way. I would have hugged her.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard because it's like, I'm standing there with the knowledge that Christine doesn't want a relationship with me or my kids. And I'm like, I don't know why am I saying goodbye if she doesn't want, it's like, I wanted to show up so that Christine could see that at least even with all of the
rejection
and her leaving and everything else, that no matter what, like, I was still there. Like, I'm still gonna show up and say goodbye, even though this is really, really hard.
That's good.
We've talked a lot about the family divide, but goodbye is goodbye.
Yeah. It's the end of an era. Like,
Yeah.
It's like everything. Christine has been such a big center of my world and my children's world.
I'm curious, it seems like you guys are closer now than you ever were when you were sister wives. What do you think about Cody being upset about that? Because he's like, hello, this is what I wanted all the time.
We had actually done a lot of that work before she left.
Okay.
Either he was oblivious and not paying attention, which is possible, or he's conveniently seeing it.